All right, we are live. Welcome back, everyone, to our daily live feed. As you are logging on, if you would like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. If you were logging on Instagram, we do also have this up on YouTube, and I will be screen sharing over on YouTube tonight as we create a competition budget, okay? And as you get logged on here, make sure that you say hello, comment, like, subscribe. If you're subscribing to our YouTube channel, make sure that you turn on notifications, because if you do that, then you will get an automatic notification a half hour before we go live. So that way you won't miss it. Tonight, I want to be very, very interactive. I want your input on everything because we are going to put this budget together. So I've done this topic in the past, but it was more me bringing everything to the table. Tonight, I want your input on it so we can create it together. Yes, happy Wednesday. Yes, this is a topic that people are a little surprised about sometimes whenever we talk about it. It's always important to go through this. I like to go through it around this time of year because we start thinking about next year. You know, we start thinking about 2023 and what we're going to be spending on our competition preps and things like that as we go forward. So now is a good time to start creating that budget for when we get into the new year. And as you're getting on here to help with that budget, if you didn't notice in the little ticker box there below, we have our Black Friday sale registration open. It is free to register. Once you get onto our list, then I had this topic. Yeah, Raven, right? I know, right? Budgeting is never fun, but it's something that's necessary, right? So yes, Black Friday sale. So, oh, we got a spammer. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we're gonna block you. Okay, block user. Bye. That was wow. All right, cool. How do I delete them? I don't know how to delete those comments. Add to block list. What did I do? I don't know how to delete the comments. Let me see. Block user. There we go. Add the block list. There we go. All right. I don't know how to delete those off the screen, guys. Don't mind the random chat box there. Okay. Fun. We're gonna hide that chat overlay real quick. Sorry, guys. Okay. Comment for me again here on YouTube just to make sure that I didn't screw it up. Because we had some random, spammer come on and start spamming, and I turned him off, but I don't know if I turned everybody off, so I don't know if I did that or not. Comment. I'm gonna try commenting myself. I'm just testing. Let's see. Yeah, that worked. Okay. Can you guys comment? Just okay, there we go. All right, cool. We're good. Sorry, I got a little flustered there. I've never had a spam bot come on and actually start like doing this in the middle of a live. That was unnerving. Okay. All right, cool. Anyway, so as I was saying, we have our Black Friday sale registration open. So you can click that link on our description box, on YouTube, or in our link tree on Instagram. And that gets you registered for when we actually open up the sale. All right, I got through it. Sorry, got a little thrown off by the spam bots for a second there. Anyway, all right, what's up? Now, let's get into tonight's topic. So tomorrow night, we will go into previewing the final show for Olympic qualifications. But tonight, we are going to create a competition budget, because I think a lot of times what happens is, as we get into the season, we forget how expensive the sport can actually be. So, stuff like my Black Friday sale can help with eliminating some of the costs for the budget, things like that. That's why we do a lot of package deals where you can get your suit and your posing together, that kind of thing. But we're going to start from basic square one. So I want you guys to give me exactly what you spend on these things, and we'll take like an average of what people comment. So the first thing, as you're starting out and you're getting ready to go ahead and start competing, that kind of thing, The very first thing that you're going to do is what? You're going to find yourself a coach, right? So, what are you spending on a coach? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean in-person training. In-person training is definitely something that a lot of people do, but it's not something I would consider like you have to do as a competitor. I always say, like, if you've never trained with a trainer in the gym before and you're thinking about competing, you need to go train with a trainer in the gym because you need to learn form. I see so many girls screw up their training programs just because they're not actually training correctly, right? So, as we're sitting here, tell me how much per month, let's say per month, you spend on a coach. Go ahead and tell me what you spend on a coach. What did I just do? I hit the wrong button. Okay, we got $200. What else? Anybody else want to say what they spend? Maybe this is not you specifically. Maybe it's somebody that you know. Give me some other numbers. I feel like I should be playing the Jeopardy song. Do 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 do. Or maybe if you're a coach and you're on the live stream right now, you can give me what you charge. What do you charge for coaching? And this is just for your training and your diet services, not in-person training. Oh, we got one person that decided to give us their coaching amounts, but got nobody else. Anybody else want to give it to us? Come on. I want some interaction here. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you got. I know some people are well above $400 a month. I know some people are well below the $200 a month. I would say probably an average of what you're going to spend for a coach per month. And this is talking anywhere from like a brand new coach all the way up to, the top high level coaches and things like that. I would say your average is going to be about $300 a month. Okay. You may be above that. You may be below that. So I'm going to put $300 a month in there as far as a coaching budget. Okay. Now, again, you may be spending more than that. You may be spending less. We got a $250 a month. Yeah. So yeah. And you both are NPC competitors. That makes sense. I do know there's some, again, and it depends on your division and things like that too. Obviously like open men bodybuilders, they're going to be spending a lot more on their coaching than a bikini competitor would, that kind of thing. But I would say on average, we're talking about $300 a month on average. Okay. And remember, when it comes to coaching, always remember this, that you get what you pay for, right? So if you want one of these top end, high end caliber coaches, you're going to spend more. Okay. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right fit for you. If you get somebody that's just starting out, they may be more hungry to actually create better competitors. So they may actually be a better fit for you. So you need to do your research and actually, interview coaches and things like that and figure out who it is you think is going to be your best fit. But in general, like I said, I would say the average coach is probably going to charge about $300 a month. Okay. And that's for coaching, like your training and diet check-ins and things like that. Okay. So there's coaching. So as we move along, that's your first expense. There's a delay in the chat. Yeah, I think because we had that spam bot and because I got rid of him, I think that's why we have a delay. That's okay. I'll just keep talking. Just keep typing in, or you can type in on Instagram too if it's faster on Instagram. And I've got Instagram up as well as YouTube, so I'll still be over here on YouTube regardless. So yeah, I had to get rid of that spam bot, so I think that the chat is a little bit behind. I don't know what happened exactly, but it is what it is. We're just gonna keep powering forward, right? Okay, so with that, we've got your coaching. Now, since we have a little bit of a delay in the chat, go ahead and type in what other expenses you can think of. Like, for example, your suit, posing coach, hair, makeup, tanning, travel, all of these things, right? I'm gonna start typing all these things in. You guys keep chatting in and saying like what other expenses you can think of. I'm going to go ahead and start typing them in so that you see them on the screen, and then we'll add in values since we're behind on the chat because of our spam bot. So, all right, so we've got there you go. We got some coming in right now. So we've got posing. Suit, hair and makeup, travel, food and supplements. Yeah, we're going to stay away from the enhancements thing because that is such a broad thing. And the same thing with the food. But we will say supplements. I'm just going to kind of envelop all of that into supplements because I think that's a good one right there. Because you still got to eat, right? You still got to eat regardless, right? So you're probably going to end up spending more money on food. You know, you probably are if you're going to do like a meal prep service or something like that. You're probably going to spend more money on it. But that it's just there's so many variables on that. We're just going to keep it to supplements. That's going to include all of your protein powders, foods, all those kinds of things, right? Okay. So let's go. I'm going to do some subsets here for travel. We're going to do hotel. We're going to do airfare. Oops. Or gas travel, basically. Let's see what else we got here. Black satin or silk clothing for the day of, and mattress, covers, pillowcases, sheets. So let's say that goes into show day miscellaneous expenses, right? What else? Registration. Yep. And your NPC or IFBB card, right? Coach attendance, coach pass, and in-person training. So I'm going to leave the in-person training off because again, kind of the same thing as the food aspect. There's just so many variables on that. But yeah, and the same thing like coach attendance, coach pass. That is an expense for some people. It is, but a lot of people won't have their coaches actually at their show. So I'm going to leave that off just for the time being. But that can be something that gets factored in for sure. So that's something that you have to talk to your actual coach back about. You know, like we're talking about the coaching fees per month being $300. I know some coaches just bake that into their fee as far as like if they're going to be attending shows, or you may have to pay them additionally to be there. I've had both. I've had coaches where they bake it into their fees, and I've had coaches where I've had to pay fees when they actually go to shows. So that's something to talk to your coach about because that can end up being an added expense for sure. You know, going back to the backstage passes for coaches and things like that too. Media packages, that's a good one. So media, if you want to order your pictures and your videos, which I do recommend you do because that's the way you're going to improve, right? Let's see what else we got. Shoes, that's one we missed. There we go. Tan, I didn't put tan on there. Again, the sheets and warm-ups and stuff that'll go with miscellaneous show day expenses. Gym membership, I'm going to say no because you should already be going to the gym. Like if you're thinking about competing, you should already be a regular gym goer. So I'm not going to count that as a competition expense because you should already kind of have that, right? So kind of is what it is. And same thing with a trainer. Like I've mentioned this a few times, a personal trainer, like in-person trainer, in this particular sport, I don't think is a necessity, but I do think a lot of people do need it. Does that make sense? Like I was mentioning at the beginning of this, I don't know if you guys got that or not, but if you're thinking about competing or if you're just thinking about training in general, you should be training with a personal trainer at least a little bit, so you have the right form, you have the right thought process and movements and things like that down for your training. I see so many girls screw everything up just because they don't do that portion of it, right? Travel, gas, airline ticket, time off work. That's a good one right there. Yep. That's one people forget about. That is an expense, you guys. That's an expense. If you have to take time off work, that's an expense. Absolutely. Body work. I don't think newbies use nearly as much season, but definitely recommended. Yeah, that is definitely recommended. Let's go ahead and put it in there because I personally think it's really important. Especially if you're training as hard as you should be getting body work done too. So we can kind of encompass that. That can be considered like massages, chiropractic work, any kind of recovery work, right? Please make sure to interview trainers too, so that they really know how to help you. No, that's absolutely correct. You should have the same kind of interview process for your in-person trainer as you would for a coach, right? This has happened to me before. I've had in-person trainers, some who are very, very good at form, and some who were very, very good at like conditioning drills. You know, those are two very different kinds of specialties, right? I had a trainer when I first started like working out in general. I worked with trainers in the gym that really helped me with creating my form correctly and all those kinds of things. I had a trainer when I had surgery, and he really helped me with my form so I didn't hurt myself, that kind of thing. Always worked with me on my upper body days because that's where I had my surgery. Then I had a trainer who was very good at conditioning workouts, but not great at the actual bodybuilding aspect of it, if that makes sense. Like he wasn't training me in a proper form method, but I had great conditioning because of his workouts put together. Like I was dead by the time I was done. So anyway, every trainer is going to have a specialty, just like every coach has a specialty. So make sure that you're getting with the people that you want to actually work with for whatever reason, right? What else? Did we miss anything? Let's see. So we got the coaching fees already up here for $300. We got posing coaching, which is definitely a necessity. Suit is a necessity. Hair and makeup, travel. Where did I put tan? I'm going to put tan up here with hair and makeup right underneath that. Put shoes up there too. So everything's kind of together here. Okay. So now that we've got a good list of expenses, tell me how much you're spending on posing coaching. I think we got the chat finally caught up after I had to boot some spam bot off. We got a little bit delayed on the chat. So tell me how much you spend on posing coaching per month. Say per month. And this is going to change depending on if you're off season or in season. It's going to change depending on the kind of posing that you do, whether it's group posing, individual posing. It's going to change. It's going to be very, very fluid depending on what you're doing, right? So what I would say is probably on average meeting with your posing coach, let's say twice a month. Let's just say twice a month that we're meeting with your posing coach. So for sake of argument and keeping things simple, does about $200 a month for posing coaching sound about right? Some people will be more, some people will be less. I know me personally, I charge more than a lot of posing coaches do, but I know I don't charge the most either. So I would say probably per month, we're looking at posing coaching being about $200 on average, right? And again, that depends on what you're doing. Okay. Yeah, sounds about right. About $200. So already just between your coaching and your posing coaching, you've got yourself $500 a month added on. Okay. And a typical prep is going to be about 4 months. Plus, if you do an off season or anything like that. Okay. So you understand how this is adding up real quick? Got it? Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, 150. I agree with that. Yep. Yep. That's right. Yep. You pay for experience. That's right. Yep. There's that old saying that story where like a plumber comes in and like the guy's got his house is flooding and that kind of thing, and he can't get the water to turn off or whatever. The plumber comes in and twists one little screw and it turns off the water, and he charges $10,000. And the dude said, the homeowner is like, you were just here for 2 seconds. All he did was turn the screw. He goes, yeah, you're paying for my 15 years of knowledge of knowing which screw to turn. Right? So that's what you're paying for. Right? So yeah, so I would say a good average would be about $200. Okay. Now how much are you going to spend on a suit? How much you spend on a suit? And most people honestly are probably going to have a couple suits, but we'll keep it to one. We'll keep it to one suit. How much are you going to spend on a suit on average? And again, this goes back to some people spend more, some people spend less. Some people get custom work done, some people don't. So let's look at an average amount. $500 to $700 for a suit. What else? I can tell you from looking at my own suits as well as suits of other suit designers, I would say the average person is going to spend about $800 on their suit. Okay. It's about $800 on their suit. That's, of course, if you're not getting a sale or anything like that, but that's on average, you're spending about $800. Some people are spending well over $1,500 for their suits. Some of these suits are ridiculous, right? But that way I'll have to break up the hour once we have our, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, like Raven just said, anywhere from 500 to 1,000. Yeah, I would say on average you're spending about $800 on a suit. Okay. Some people would be less, some people would be more. Okay. Yep, $1,000. And again, I see some girls that spend well over that on their suit, depending on what they do. Right. Okay. Hair and makeup. So this is if you're spending money to actually get your hair. Sizzling Summer Suit Sale is the best investment. It absolutely was, Andrea. Now you got suits for the rest of your life. So, just so you know, I know most of you guys know this, but I do what's called the PPP, Pro Performer Promise. So if you win your pro card with me while you're wearing one of my suits, or if you qualify for the Olympia while you're wearing one of my suits, then you earn suits for the remainder of your career. And Andrea did that. So you get what you pay for. I'm embarrassed to put my $500 suit next to the suit you made me. Oh, that's absolutely correct. 100%. 100%. And I hear it all the time when girls get my suit. They're like, oh, I didn't know suits could look like this. I'm like, yup. You don't know the difference until you feel it, right? You don't know the difference until you feel it. It's a difference. There's a difference, right? It's like if you go and you have a knockoff purse and then you pull out a Louis Vuitton, it's the same difference, right? You can tell. Okay. Hair and makeup. So if you're getting your hair and makeup done at a show, how much are you spending? How much are you spending on your hair and makeup? And again, going back to some people spend a lot, some people don't. Some people do their own hair and makeup, which can save some money, but can also cause a lot of stress, right? So I can tell you, depending on what you're doing with me, if you're doing the whole kit and caboodle, it's a good chunk of change. So I would say on average, hair and makeup at a show, $250. Is that about right? You're doing both? About $250. I'm going to put in there. Right? Some people won't. Again, some people only do their makeup. Some people only have their hair done. That kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, the fit on my suit's big. It's a big thing for sure. So hair and makeup, we're going to say on average about $250. Tan. I always get my makeup and hair professionally done because I can't not do stage makeup, and I do your homework because not everyone can. Yeah, that's right. That's spot on. Even though the wig's still an expense. Absolutely. The wig is still an expense. It's still part of your expense for that day. That's true. Absolutely. So makeup, $100 to $200 depending on the show. Yep. And depending on the artist and all that too. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, I think $250 is a good average right there. Because you're right, you know, depending on what you get, you may have to do a wig, you may have to do extensions, you may have to do all that kind of stuff too, and that's an added expense as well. So we'll say 250 on that is probably about average. Tan, what are we doing on tan? If you're doing the full shebang with tan, you can expect to spend probably about 150 to 175. I also get it done because sometimes I feel bougie, right? Yeah, no, I totally understand that. Absolutely, absolutely. What I used to do is I always do my own makeup because I don't like when other people do my makeup. I only like it when I do it. But I used to go get like my hair blown out and stuff like that. So that was always something that I enjoyed doing. Now I don't really do that. I have a different process now, but I did do that. I used to go get my hair blown out. Yeah. Yep, stage ready hair. If you get good extensions, and that's the thing. If you're going to do extensions or if you're going to do a wig, you make sure it's a good one, right? Make sure it's a good one for sure. So tan, I'm going to put in there 150 is the average. Some people are going to spend more, again, depending on how many coats you need to do, what package you get. It can be up to, you know, $200, that kind of thing too. I'll say 150 on average for your tan. Some people, again, will do the DIY, but you're still going to spend about $100 on your DIY kit. So you're still spending just as much if you're doing DIY or if you're getting sprayed. Now, the DIY kit can usually get you through a couple shows. So that way you do save money, but you're still spending about the same. And personally, I like getting sprayed. I am white, as you can see. It's really hard for me to get dark. So I need a lot of tan, shoes, I would say, you know, shoes can vary depending on what you do, you know, depending on how many crystals you put on the shoe, all that kind of stuff. So I would say on average, you're probably going to spend about $80 on a pair of shoes. One pair. Again, this is all one pair. You may have two. I always suggest you have two. Something we didn't put in there was jewelry. So let me put jewelry in there. Oops. So shoes, you know, some of them are going to be over $100. Some of them are going to be $40. You know what I mean? It just depends on what you get. Again, the shoes, I think you get what you pay for. I've gotten really nice shoes that feel really good and I can walk in them very, very well versus cheapos that strippers get, you know? So it makes a difference there too. So I'll say on average about $80 for your shoes. Jewelry, depending, again, this is all depending on what you get. I would say probably about $100 on jewelry. Some people will do more depending on how many pieces you get, depending on how many bracelets or pairs of earrings. Always have a second set too. It's never a good idea to only have one set of jewelry because inevitably something will break or something. So have a couple sets of jewelry just in case. Travel, I'm going to keep this simple. Hotels right now, because of inflation and everything we just went through with the pandemic and all of that, hotels are crazy, ridiculously expensive, and all of these freaking tacked on fees and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to say on average, you're probably going to spend about $200 a night on a hotel. So some of them are going to be more expensive, some of them are less. As you can see, we're just going down the average for all of this stuff. So I would say about $200 a night for your hotel. And you're probably, depending on what show you're doing, you're probably going to be there at least 2 nights, if not 3, right? You're going to be there Friday night and Saturday night. Some people get in on Thursday. Some people will stay through till Monday, that kind of thing. So we'll say on average, we'll say times, let me do some numbers here, times 2. Let's say 2 nights. Let's just say 2 nights for $200. You know, you may need more, but you know, on average. And again, let's do all of these times, how many times? So jewelry times 2, shoes times 2, and it's good, hair and makeup, your suit, if you want to double suits, and we'll just say coaching fee. We'll talk about coaching just for prep. If you're doing an off season, you're going to have more. So let's just say 4 months for coaching, and we'll say the same thing for the posing coaching. But this is for one show, right? One show. Yes, I did roommate for the first time and loved it, but some folks need their space. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with jewelry. A nice set, $100, and yeah, broken earrings. Yeah. I personally can't compete and room with people. I've done it, I won't say I haven't done it. I have done it, but I don't like it. I need my space. I want my zone. I want my area. Like when I go to shows, like I bring my candles, I bring my flowers, like I need my zen. I need my space. And then I have like my makeup corner and my hair corner and all this kind of stuff. I need to have my space. So is what it is. Book hotels early with the ability to cancel because depending on the show, they can sell out faster, prices go up. Yeah. Yep. And usually go through with the show rate. That tends to be the best one. Airfare and gas, depending on where you're going. We'll say on average, let's say $350 on average, because if you're doing a flight, you're going to be spending at least $300, $400 on a flight. If you're doing gas, again, you're going to be putting miles on your car, you're going to be driving, that kind of thing. If it's a local show, great, then you don't have to put this expense on there. But again, we're talking about average, on average. So let's say $350 for travel for your airfare or your gas. Okay. Supplements is something that we can't really quantify because everybody's going to be a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put an arbitrary number in there. I'm going to put in $200 a month because depending on, and that's just for your prep, depending on what you're eating, your supplementation is going to be different. So let's just say $200 a month times 4. It may be much higher than that. It might be lower than that. Right. But usually you're at about $200 a month is probably about right. Show day miscellaneous. So we were talking about warm-ups, pillowcases, sheets, things that you just have to bring, all this black clothing that doesn't get tan all over everything, just all of those miscellaneous items that you have to bring with you when you go to these hotels because of the tan and because of all of this stuff. So let's just say that the show day miscellaneous stuff is $200, right? This list you're making made my decision to not do Masters USA feel much better because it's even more expensive. Yeah, national show is even more expensive. It absolutely is. So let's say our miscellaneous, and this includes things like Hot Logic things to heat your food up, things like that. There's going to be a lot of miscellaneous items that you don't even realize you're going to have to need, sewing kit, stuff like that, like things that you don't realize or something like flip-flops, just random stuff. Even if you're working on a budget, you're going to need to spend money on those things. So let's say an average $200 for the miscellaneous, right? Yeah, national shows are much more expensive too. Absolutely. Yes. So that brings us to registration fees, right? So if we're talking about national shows, registration fees are like $300 for a class. If you're at a local NPC show, it's usually what, $150, something like that. So let's just say we're just doing one class. We're doing one registration fee, all of that stuff. We're not doing multiple classes, which you guys know that never happens. Everybody always does multiple classes. But for tonight's argument, we're going to say one class. And let's just say $200 for the average, right? So we're going to put $200 as being the average registration fee right there for you. Again, if you're doing a national show, it's going to be more than that. Okay, it's going to be more than that. How much is the NPC membership nowadays? I don't even know what the IFBB one is. It's IFBB $250. I don't even remember what it was. I paid for it. I don't remember what it was. I think it was $250. I think 200 maybe. I don't know. I probably could look that up really quick. Let me see. Actually, I don't know if I can look it up. 135. I'm pretty sure. Gosh, I don't even know. I don't know if they have it on here. Let me see. I don't think they have it here. I think you have to, because you have to write in for your application to become a pro and all that stuff. So I can't even remember what I spent. I think it was 200 or 250, something like that. But NPC is 135. Yeah. So I'm going to say $200 just for an average price point. Because I wish I could remember. I'm pretty sure that the IFBB one is like $250, something like that. So if the NPC is 135, then we'll say it's 200 is the average. 150. See, now I'm getting conflicting. I know it's over 100. Somebody said $100. It's over 100 for sure. It's for sure over 100. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 250 for the IFBB, I think. So that's what I'm saying, $200 for the it is. Okay, so it was just mentioned over here 250. I thought it was 250. So okay, so 200 is a good average. 200 is a good average. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll say 200 is the average because, NPC is 150. Media package, if you're getting your pictures and videos, again, let's take an average and let's say it's $200 is the average. I know I got videos and stuff that were like 150 or something like that at one of my shows. Depends on the show that you go into, all of that. Time off work is going to be incredibly individual. So we're not going to put a number in there because that could be all over the place. So we won't put a number in for time off work, but just know that that is something that can be an expense. And then body work, depending on what you're doing. If you're going twice a month to see a massage therapist at $150 a throw, it's $300 a month, right? So let's just say that's body work, whatever we want to say that is, chiropractic, massage, whatever. Let's just say it's $300 a month. And anybody think of anything else that we missed? Any other expenses that we missed? $2023 is $150. Okay. Anybody think of any expenses that we missed? I think that's a pretty good list. So I'm gonna start calculating this. Let's see if I can calculate it correctly. You guys can do it with me. So if I screw it up, you can tell me. I've got to count my calculator up. I'm gonna start putting everything together. So let's see. Pinkle says post-show dinner and wine. Yeah, that doesn't really count. Do you add manicures and pedicures or press-on nails? So I said that I didn't have that in there. Let's go ahead and put a line item on there. Let's just say that's show day miscellaneous. But this show day miscellaneous is now getting really expensive. So I'm gonna bump that show day miscellaneous up to $300. Because that's probably more on board. And then that'll add in the nails and all that stuff. Okay. So let's do, oops. Mm-hmm. Okay. So somebody tell me what you got for your for your calculations. I'll tell you what I got. Oh, I missed one. Hold on. I didn't scroll all the way down, so I'm not completely done yet. So plus body work. This is on average for one show prep. Now, of course, if you continue and do more shows and things like that, you're not going to have to rebuy the suits. You're not going to have to rebuy the shoes. You're not going to have to rebuy the jewelry, things like that. But almost everything else on here is going to continue to add up. Okay. Most everything else on here is going to continue to add up. So your coaching fees, your posing coaching, your hair and makeup, you got to pay that every time you go into a show. All your hotel, your gas, your airfare, every time you go into a show, your supplements every month, your body work every month, your media packages and registrations every time that you do a show, right? So what I just pulled up here with this basic average prep is $7,110 for one show, one class, one. One. So make sure you're doing this right. Make sure that you're doing this right. Okay. This is why it's really important that you make sure you have really good coaches on your side, because this is a lot of time, money, and energy that you are wasting if you don't have the right people on your team. Okay. Now, like I said, now is when you can take advantage of sales, like our Black Friday sale that's coming up. Like that plug, see, our Black Friday sale is coming up. So this is when you can start taking advantage of things like that. We'll go ahead and put our little ticker up on the screen to help with these budgets. Okay. But also remember that competing is not cheap. Okay. It's an expensive sport. So make sure that you are creating a budget like this. That's right. You don't do just one show per season. That's absolutely correct. Who's ever done one show? Everybody does at least two, at least, you know? So make sure that you are budgeting for this. Because one of the biggest things that can stress competitors out as they go through the season is financial stresses. It's financial stresses, right? So understand that it's one thing for your body to be ready. It's another thing for your bank account to be ready. Okay. Now, as you go along, you may get some help with some of this stuff. You may get some sponsorships along the way, things like that. But make sure that you're taking advantage of the different opportunities that you have to make yourself a better competitor, right? Get yourself good coaching so that you don't have to do 1,000 shows in order to win your pro card, things like that, right? Make sure that every step that you make is calculated, just like we calculated this budget. Like how I tied that together? But this is why you have to be really prepared to do this, right? And this is just an average. Some people are going to spend more on this stuff. A lot of people are going to spend more on this stuff. A lot of people are going to spend more nights in the hotels. What if your spouse comes with you? That just bumped up your airfare and all that kind of stuff. It just bumped up all of those things. They have to take time off work too. Right? Any questions on this? Any questions on the things that we've just put up here? Sorry about the delay on the chat tonight. Like I said, freaking spammer coming in. Screw the whole thing up, man. Screw the whole thing up. But yeah, this is one of the reasons why when we do our sales every year, we bundle everything together because it helps you guys with your budget. We do payment plans available, things like that, because it helps with the budget. We created Cuties Conquer the Stage so that you guys would have the opportunity to learn and hopefully fast track your competition career a little bit, which helps with expenses, right? It helps with expenses if we can get you to your destination a little bit quicker, right? Any questions, you guys? So this budget that we just put together right here, what did I say? It was $7,110. That's this simple budget that we just put together tonight. Right? All right. If that's not a cue to sign up for the Black Friday sale, I don't know what is. So we're going to wrap it up for this evening. Tomorrow we will preview the shows for this coming weekend. Okay, so we've got one more weekend for everybody to qualify for the Olympia, and then we're off to the races, right? So Black Friday sale, link is in my bio on Instagram, description box on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. And we'll be back here again tomorrow night, 8:15. Okay, and end that on Instagram first. Good night.
and YouTube next.